Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I am working with a new print and pray set from Kelly Bangs in the Illustrated Faith Print and Pray shop. And this set is called the Whatever Principle. And Kelly has this beautiful devotional focused on Philippians 4:8 and what Philippians 4:8 is meaning and what it is not meaning. And I love, of course, I always love things Kelly does. I like how she's taking some time to break down such a popular verse that we all know and love, and to really help us focus in on the truth behind that verse. So I'm going to use this gorgeous printable. It has all of these beautiful elements, and I'm going to put together a tag ring for this particular devotional. And this tag ring is going to be a place that I can record God wink moments when I know God is pointing something out to me. And for me, that goes back into this whatever principle, because those are the moments that God is really wanting us to focus in and ponder and reflect. And so that is what I am going to do with this beautiful devotional. I'll make sure to link everything that I end up using down below so that you can check it out if you are interested. Otherwise, I will put you on fast forward and we'll get going. Let's go. This project starts out easy enough with just fussy cutting out all of the elements, all of these cards. They kind of look like vintage Polaroids, and they are wonderful because they have a small devotional on each section of Philippians 4:8 that kind of focuses you in. And I think this is a great start. It's so easy to look at verses and to see them on t-shirts and on coffee mugs and kind of take them not for granted, but not really dive into what it's actually telling you. And that would definitely be a mistake. God has lots of really rich lessons in the Bible, and it's important to dive in and study it for yourself and really focus in on what God has to teach you in that verse. Projects like this give me an excellent opportunity to use papers that are in my stash. So I'm actually backing all of these elements with some cardstock from Maggie Holmes. I believe I probably bought this paper pad at Tuesday Morning a while ago. I just love Maggie Holmes collections, and so whenever I see one, I generally will pick it up. But I do happen to have a lot of 12 by 12 paper on hand right now, and that is something that I'm trying to work through and use my stash in a lot of different ways, and this is one of the ways I like to do it. When I print out my printables, I do print them out at home. I print them out on bright white paper that is 32 pounds, which is slightly thicker than your average copy paper, but not quite as thick as cardstock. That works really well for me in my journaling Bible. It's my favorite way to print. But when I'm going to be using the elements outside of my Bible, I do like to add a little strength by mounting them on cardstock. Plus, this is going to bring in some extra color, and it allows me to use these beautiful papers that are in my stash. All right, next I trimmed out all of the elements. They have cardstock on the back, and I've matched them up as far as which part of the verse that Kelly is discussing, like whatever is true, whatever is right. And then on the back, I I matched it up with another place that has the same color scheme, if that makes sense, another card that has the same color scheme. And what I'm doing is using my We Are Memory Keepers punch to punch a small hole, and then I'm adding a brad so that the two elements will stick together. You'll be able to turn it. So it has the devotion on the front and then kind of a blank card that just has color on the back. And the blank card that's behind it, I will be able to use that to record those God wink moments that I was talking about in the introduction. You can see there how I can kind of turn the card and see what's behind it. I liked the idea of this interactive element of the devotion on the front and then my prayer or my moment, not necessarily out there for everyone to see, but backed up right there so I can match them up. Those God wink moments, the times when you really feel God putting something on your heart, or maybe there's a repetition going on in your life and you're seeing lessons show up over and over again, which often happens to me with, sermon notes colliding with devotionals that I'm studying, or maybe the scripture of the day that I'm reviewing also happens to match up with a song that came on the radio. I feel like those are moments that God really wants you to reflect on. And so I want a place to record those moments in my life. All right, so what I'm doing now is creating pockets for all of these kind of photo card elements to sit in, and the pockets will be what is actually attached to the tag ring, and then you'll be able to pull out the other element to record those God wink moments. So I cut my cards or my paper down to 4 by 6, and then I'm going to score it right at 2 inches, fold it over, and then use my bone folder right there to really make sure it's a strong crease. And you can see how that will kind of create a little pocket for that to sit in. So I'll just do that with all of the papers, just going ahead, scoring them through, speeding it up right here. And then I'll come back to make sure it's a really strong crease. Again, I'm getting to use a lot of different papers, and I love the interactive element. I think that just is such a fun way to invite interest into your crafts. Instead of just something to look at that's pretty, it invites you to interact with it, to get involved. And for me, that means to get involved, to write these prayers, to add some photos, to really make note of those things that I feel God is having me reflect on. All right, you saw that this was not double-sided paper. If you have double-sided paper, you could probably skip this step for making the pockets, but what I'm doing is cutting 4 by 4 squares, and I'm going to put that square in this opening just so that it's not plain white in the pocket, if that makes sense. So I will put that right there. It's going to add some extra strength and bulk, which never hurts when you have projects that are sitting out, and then it folds over and it adds color to that white section that didn't have any color to it. And again, I'm getting to use even more gorgeous paper. I really find that Kelly Bangs' style coordinates really nicely with Maggie Holmes. Kelly has a very whimsical style, and I love the color choices that she always chooses. And I feel like they just always match so well with my Maggie Holmes papers, especially the florals. I think they're absolutely beautiful. So I love pairing those two artists together. Now, I have found myself working outside of my Bible a lot in my faith journaling. And I think it's because I'm just so in love with all of the different elements that I want to include as many as possible. And there's only so much room on a Bible journaling page. But I'd love to hear from you. Do you like to kind of keep it all together in your Bible? Do you like to work in a separate faith journal, maybe a traveler's notebook? Or are you kind of into these mini albums or these tag rings like I have been lately? I think I like to change it up. You guys know that. I like to do different things. I think it keeps it fresh. I always do my studying in the Bible. I've had people ask, what happens when you cover up words? Well, I have several Bibles. The ones I journal in are not the ones that I do my morning quiet time and reflection in. I think I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to have those different Bibles to work with and work in. So just let me know. I'd love to hear, what is your favorite kind of outlet right now for your faith journaling? Let me know if I'm the only one that's working in these mini albums. They do take a little bit of time, you can see, to assemble, but it's very assembly line-esque. It's very streamlined. So it's this repetitive thing over and over, just adding this, putting it together. And for me, I like doing that in advance because I do love these craft projects. I love working with paper. I love working with the beautiful elements. But when I'm able to assemble something in advance and then study at a later time, it really helps me delineate the two and making sure I'm focusing in on just the study and not being distracted by the excitingness or the creativity. And then I can still go back and incorporate more creativity. I'll be adding more elements to this tag ring as I study and reflect on the devotional and on this verse. So, it's whatever fits your style, whatever fits your study. And I think it probably changes as your journey continues. Now, after I finish assembling all of these, I do take them over to my sewing machine. I have a sewing machine in my craft room that I use only for paper because I actually can't sew any material at all. And I run those through my sewing machine to make them actual pockets. And you can see I'm just putting in all of my little card elements. That way I'll know where I can punch the holes. See how they all fit in? They're super cute. You get a little glimpse of the different papers, and there's room to add more embellishment. embellishment. So there's a whole floral sheet that comes with this kit. There's some more labels, there's some more words, and I can cut those out and add those in as I'm studying or as I'm adding those moments or recording those God winks and things that I feel that God is having me reflect on. So I have those elements there and able to add. I don't have to do it all at once right here, but the majority of the project is assembled, which makes it easy to jump in at a later time. I actually end up deciding to punch holes in the corners of all the cards because I think it hangs really nicely that way. And I did put them in order of how the words appear in the verse. So they will hang, they'll be super pretty. And then I'm actually going to work on adding a little embellishment to my tag ring, which is something else that I think is a lot of fun. I've actually recently changed around my craft room. So I have a place in my craft room where all my different tag rings can hang, and I think it's a beautiful decoration in the room, and then I just have access to them, which makes it easy to study and add to them as I go. And now I'm just going through my fabric scraps. I'll cut these in half and then add some bows, and then this tag ring will be done. Don't forget that this devotional is available over at the Illustrated Faith Print and Pray shop. I will link it below. It's by Kelly Bangs, and it's definitely one that will make you dig deep. It'll make you reflect. Anytime we have a verse like Philippians 4:8 that is so popular and so impactful, it can be so easily skewed. And I love that Kelly is helping us to slow down and really look at the true meaning of the verse. I'd also love to hear from you down below. If you do end up going to pick up this devotional, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So make sure to leave me a comment. I like reading them. I always try to respond. Sometimes it's not on that same day, but I do try to get back to all of the comments. So feel free to leave them down below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I will definitely link all the supplies down below, down to the paper I use to print on. I'll look for that Maggie Holmes paper. I'm not sure if I can find it online, but if not, just look for things in your stash. That is the best way to go when you're working on projects like this. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.